What's up guys, Max here. So if you haven't had the chance, we just played through the recent Devil May Cry demo. It comes with a couple of scenarios, a boss fight, and an encompassing tutorial mode in a way. It gives you access to mess around with a little bit of the combat, the platforming, and things of that nature. Things that this game seems like it'll take pretty heavily. A lot of the platforming in this game is definitely like action platforming. You gotta utilize all of Dante's moves to his advantage to get around where you want. And there's some stuff they don't explain, which I kinda liked in the demo. As far as where to get, and there's things like in really random places, and you kinda gotta figure out through a complication of moves how to get to it, and I still didn't even find anything. So let's talk about the gameplay itself. Devil May Cry runs at 30 frames per second, and the original series ran at 60. The original series, which includes Devil May Cry 1, 2, 3, and 4. For the most part, Devil May Cry 1 and 3 are the best games of the series. Coming after that is Devil May Cry 4. Devil May Cry 4 has an amazing action engine to it. It looks fantastic. It's one of the best looking games on consoles, I think, still. However, the game itself is so ridiculously flawed it hurts, because you play through the whole game once as Nero and you do the exact same thing as Dante. I don't think I'm spoilering anything for everybody, but that's a huge bummer. And the campaign was really short, and it was very lazy. Although the game itself was fun because the combat is so satisfying. The same thing for Devil May Cry 3, which is arguably the best one of them all. Devil May Cry 1 is still a really good game, even by today's standards. And Devil May Cry 2 is total horseshit, and we'll leave it at that. But Devil May Cry, this one, the combat still feels intact. I think the biggest thing that you can ask yourself when playing DMC, and the biggest thing you'd be questioning, does it even feel like a Devil May Cry game? Well, yeah, everything feels the way it should. Although, I have an issue. I don't know if it's a gripe or if it's a good thing. The control scheme and how you do things, you hold down, like, the left bumper, or this is the Xbox controller for an example, the left bumper and X to pull guys towards you, the right bumper and X, and all these different combinations of left bumper X, Y, and, you know, all these things. It'll take a while to get used to that, and it literally makes you feel like you're using your Xbox controller like it's a Rubik's Cube, or your PlayStation controller. Combination of button presses one after the other, switching fingers, left fingers, and it's like, oh my god, I wonder how the old Devil May Crys were, because I don't exactly remember at this point if it was like this. It's a little complicated when you have so much going on a gamepad. But you kind of get the hang of it. After a couple of playthroughs, I felt myself confident enough to actually, the enemy's far away, you grab him towards you. If he gets up in the air, you pull him back down, you know, things like that. You use the axe smash to finish off guys easily with shields and stuff like that. There is a huge flaw in the combat system itself in this game, which was pointed out by some guys I watched a video on. Wasn't able to perform it myself, but to get the highest ranking, which is like, I think it's SSS Sadistic or something crazy like that. It's like triple S ranking, which gets you the most points. All you have to do is not get hit. That's the only thing with this game, and even in other game modes, just not getting hit is totally fine. Now, there's a problem with that because the previous Devil May Crys really rewarded you with style. Like, Devil May Cry 4 rewarded you with style by switching between your weapons, which you're able to do on the fly, and making huge, massive combo chains that can last God knows how long. Look up Breatal. You guys will find some amazing videos from this person. I think it's a Japanese player who just demolishes Dante in every form, like Dante in Devil May Cry. This one, Devil May Cry 4, Marvel vs. Capcom, is some amazing stuff. But for the most part, the combat feels intact, but the system seems like it needs a little bit of work. Guns seem kind of useless as well. They're like super weak, and for the fact that you have to actually press each individual button for guns, like to make them continually shoot, they should be worth a little bit more. I can't remember when Devil May Cry eventually made hold down square or X to make guns fire, but they seemed a little bit more powerful in previous games. Talking about the graphics, we already have the 30 to 60 frames per second, which I think is more of a gameplay thing than graphics, even though I really appreciate 60 frames per second as far as making games feel more real. But this game actually does a pretty good job at 30. The environments are pretty crazy, the character models are okay, for the most part. The textures are pretty good, but it has a lot of flair. It has a lot of real interesting artistic flair to it, which I kind of like. It kind of fits the neo-steampunk version of Devil May Cry that they're trying to envision here. The biggest question, though, between all this is that there was no reason to change Dante. Like, Devil May Cry 4 Dante was probably the best one of them all. It's funny how Dante really doesn't have much of a personality. He kind of has one in the first one, he kind of has one in the second one in a way. He's like the brash, like anti-hero, you know, but they really push his personality really far, like with him swinging around eating pizza and chopping dudes up in Devil May Cry 3, and then they push it even more in 4, and that's kind of the Dante we know nowadays. That's the Dante we remember. He was a little stale in the first games, but they kind of just got rid of that completely and put this new dude in here, which makes so little sense, I can't even describe to you. I was saying this during the video, like, Devil May Cry was one of the most renowned and best-selling series, especially the latest one that came out, which was 4, and there was no reason to change it, and for some reason they changed it, probably because they had so many of the original Capcom staff dedicated to games like, I don't know, Lost Planet 2, Dragon's Dogma, Resident Evil 6, and things like that. Most likely, so they had to outsource it, but I feel it kind of, it hurts the game more than it helps. I mean, I don't mind this version of Dante so much. I can see what pisses people off, why people are pissed off about him, because he's kind of like the polar opposite. He's not like the fun-loving, he's like the rebel without a cause type of Dante, and he's not like the real, you like just enjoy watching Dante do shit, you know? That was the thing that made old Dante great, is that you just, whatever the fuck he does, it looks awesome. It's hilarious, he's funny, he wants to be the good guy, he skids a motorcycle through the legs of enemies, and, you know, stuff of that nature. Flock off Featherface, and etc. And this Dante just feels like kind of like a KTLA, you know, Channel 5 for you guys that are in the States, like an old WB sitcom Dante, where he's like stuck in Buffy the Vampire Slayer or something like that. I don't know. It just feels, that that's what they're going for, and it feels that this is kind of the character that we get as a result. And he's a total dick at the start. He's like an asshole. He's knocking soda cans out of people's hands. He's a roughneck dickhead. You know, I don't think we're supposed to like him. I mean, if I was Ninja Theory, and Ninja Theory seemed to be pretty good about story within their games for the most part, but not as much action. I'm really surprised that this game is actually coming out as good as it is. And it's the fact that maybe that's on purpose. Like, I don't see it good for a marketing standpoint, but maybe that's the arc of the character, where Dante recognizes his actions and recognizes his role in the world and takes on a greater responsibility, and maybe he becomes the, you know, showboating debonair that you know of the original Dante closer to the end. I don't know. That's what I would do. At least I would have definitely have done that once people saw the original like Dante design. Yeah, like the meth head Dante. This is definitely an improvement over that one. Yeah, for the most part, I think as far as a final review, this game isn't perfect by any means. I am actually really looking forward to playing it, because when I played it, I was having fun. And with the combat, the enemies I was running into, the bosses, or the boss, they were enjoyable, and I actually had fun playing it. I think that's one of the most important factors. As much as you can be disappointed about Dante not being Dante, I still am. And I try to ignore that and just see the other stuff about the game, try to find positives, and that definitely is a really big one. I'll just say this to wrap things off, is that this game could have been a lot worse. A lot worse. You gotta understand that. Them taking a franchise that everybody already loved and just trashing it, making Dante look like some frickin' drug addict, ripping everything a 180, and then all of a sudden we get this horribly performing action game, because, to be honest, in the previous games that Ninja Theory have made, the action wasn't that great. It wasn't really that good. I remember only playing about a half an hour of Heaven's Blade? Heaven's Sword? Heavenly Sword on PlayStation 3. It was so long ago that I played it, and I was just like, why does this game feel horrible? It just doesn't feel fun to play at all, and it definitely looks like they've learned something, either from Capcom or whatnot, because they actually seem to have nailed it, although some other things that go with the action do need work, like the combat system. So, demo is free, give it a shot. What I implore you is to develop your own opinion. This is just my experience. I played through all the Devil May Crys. I haven't played through them extensively by any means. I think I played the first one once, played the second one once, and will never play it again. Played the third one once, and I played Devil May Cry 4 once as well, and I enjoyed each one of the games, although Devil May Cry 2 left the most sour taste in my mouth ever. And I'm looking forward to this game, so you guys can definitely anticipate a full playthrough up on Yo Video Games when it does come out. I'll put a teaser video up here so you guys can get a taste of the action and taste of what's going on, and then it'll link to the Yo Video Games channel. But thank you guys very much for watching. If you agreed with my opinion, please leave a comment below, and if you didn't agree, please leave a comment why you think otherwise. And I think it's good to get feedback on this stuff, because the game is The game is thoroughly hated, and I could completely agree with some of you guys why it's thoroughly hated, because he changed one of the best things about Devil May Cry, and it was the main character. So, yeah, leave me your feedback. I'll be back fairly soon. I'm going to take a look at another demo that has me really excited in one of the biggest action games, if not the biggest, of 2013, and that is some of Dat Revengeance. So, stay tuned, guys. I'll be back. Maximilian here, signing out.